He paid $4,200 for basement waterproofing in the spring of 2019. The company had strong online reviews. 2 technicians spent a full day applying a white masonry coating to every interior wall surface in the basement. The work looked thorough. The invoice said waterproofing. By the following February, 10 months later, the basement had water in it again. Same locations, same wall sections. The company returned under the warranty, applied additional coats, and left. By the spring of 2021, the water was back. He called again. More coating, more warranty paperwork. The water returned in the winter of 2022. He had paid to have the same problem not fixed 3 times, and at no point during any of those visits did anyone explain to him why the treatment kept failing, because explaining it would have required disclosing that the product he was buying cannot physically work on a wall under the conditions his wall is under. That disclosure would have ended the sale. It never happened. There are 2 fundamentally different approaches to basement waterproofing. One stops water at the point where it contacts the exterior face of the foundation, before it enters the wall material, before it saturates the concrete or block, before it builds hydrostatic pressure. The other collects water or coats surfaces after water has already penetrated the wall from the outside. One is waterproofing. The other is water management. The residential basement waterproofing industry, a $4 to $5 billion annual market dominated by franchise operations and regional companies with aggressive in-home sales models, is built almost entirely around selling you the second approach while using the vocabulary of the first. The word waterproofing on an invoice, on a warranty document, and in a company's name does not tell you which approach was used. It does not tell you whether the product applied can resist the specific type of moisture pressure your wall is experiencing. And it does not tell you whether the approach that was sold to you is the approach that would actually solve your problem, or the approach that is faster to install, cheaper to supply, and more profitable to sell at the price point the salesperson quoted you in your kitchen. Stay with me, because the physics of why this matters is simpler than you think, and the financial consequence of getting it wrong is one you cannot undo. Here is why the waterproofing company that responded to your inquiry is almost certain to sell you something that cannot solve your specific problem, and why the business model depends on you not understanding the distinction. The dominant product in the residential basement waterproofing market is the interior drainage system combined with negative side coatings. The interior drainage system is a perforated pipe installed in a trench cut at the base of the interior foundation wall, connected to a sump pump that discharges water outside the structure. The negative side coating is a cementitious or crystalline product applied directly to the interior masonry surface. Companies like Basement Systems, Mid-Atlantic Waterproofing, B-Dry, and their regional equivalents have built national franchise operations, selling variations of this combination at prices ranging from $3,000 to $12,000 depending on basement square footage. These companies have good reviews, professional technicians, and warranty programs. They also have a business model that requires selling an interior solution to every customer regardless of whether the customer's problem requires an exterior solution. The exterior solution, positive side waterproofing applied to the outside of the foundation wall, requires excavating around the foundation perimeter to expose the wall from footing to grade. In a typical residential basement, this means digging 8 to 12 feet down around some or all of the structure. The excavation cost alone runs $8,000 to $30,000 before any waterproofing membrane is applied. A company whose primary product costs $4,000 installed cannot have a conversation that ends with the customer being told they need a $30,000 excavation. So the conversation does not go there. And here is the physics problem that makes this consequential. Here is what actually happens when a negative side coating encounters hydrostatic pressure, because the failure is not a product defect. It is a physics problem that the product category was never designed to solve. Hydrostatic pressure is water pressure. Specifically, It is the pressure exerted by saturated soil against the exterior face of a foundation wall when the water table rises or when the soil becomes fully saturated during heavy rain or snowmelt. The pressure is proportional to the height of the water column in the soil. For every foot of water height, hydrostatic pressure increases by approximately 62 pounds per square foot. A foundation wall with 4 feet of saturated soil against it is experiencing approximately 250 pounds per square foot of hydrostatic pressure on its exterior face. That pressure drives water through the microscopic pores and cracks in concrete and block by force, not by gravity, not by capillary action, but by mechanical pressure that pushes water through any pathway available. A negative side coating applied to the interior surface of that wall is on the wrong side of the pressure differential. The water is being pushed toward the coating from behind. The coating is bonded to the masonry surface by adhesive strength that is measured in tens of pounds per square foot, orders of magnitude lower than the hydrostatic pressure pushing against it from the exterior. The coating does not fail because it is a poor product. It fails because it is being asked to resist a force that its bond strength cannot match. This is not a manufacturer defect. It is documented in ASTM Standard D7957, which distinguishes between hydrostatic and non-hydrostatic waterproofing applications precisely because the physics are different. The waterproofing company selling you the negative side product knows this distinction exists. It is in the product specification. It is not in the sales presentation. Here is where it gets worse. The interior drainage system, the perforated pipe and sump pump that forms the structural core of every major waterproofing company's installed product, does not prevent water from entering the wall. It collects water after it has entered the wall and routes it to the sump before it accumulates on the floor. A house with a functioning interior drainage system still has a wet foundation wall. The concrete or block is absorbing water on every rain event, saturating between events, and undergoing the freeze-thaw cycling that produces the efflorescence, the white salt deposits, and the surface spalling that appear on treated basement walls within 2 to 5 years of installation. The wall is deteriorating. The system is managing the deterioration's visible consequence, and the warranty on the system covers the pipe and pump. It does not cover the wall. The companies that sell these systems describe them as waterproofing in every sales conversation, every piece of marketing material, and every warranty document. The ASTM distinction between hydrostatic waterproofing and water management is not disclosed. The homeowner buys waterproofing and receives water management, and the difference between those two things is invisible until the coating begins to fail, and the water comes back. The financial consequences of the negative side trap, compound over time, are now being lived by the man from the opening. His first treatment, $4,200, failed within 10 months. His warranty repairs added 2 additional coating applications at no additional charge, but at the cost of the company's time and materials. The warranty has now expired. His basement still has active water intrusion. He has 3 years of documentation of a water problem that was treated and not solved. He is considering selling the house. His real estate agent told him he will need to disclose the water history on the seller's disclosure form. He disclosed it. His first buyer walked away. His second buyer requested a $10,000 price reduction. He accepted it. He paid $4,200 for a treatment that failed, spent 3 years managing a recurring problem, and sold the house for $10,000 less than he would have received if the water problem had been correctly diagnosed and correctly treated at the outset. The negative side waterproofing did not just fail to solve the problem. It created a documented history of the problem that followed the house to its sale. The 3 approaches that would have actually protected him follow a specific decision sequence. The first step is determining whether the problem is hydrostatic or non-hydrostatic before any waterproofing company is contacted. A basement in clay-dominant soil in a high water table market the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, the Pacific Northwest almost certainly has a hydrostatic problem. A basement in sandy, well-drained soil in a dry climate may have vapor transmission that negative side products can address. The difference is determinable with a simple observation. If water appears on the wall face during or immediately after rain, the source is likely surface water or capillary rise. If water appears days after rain or during dry seasons, the source is likely a rising water table, and that is a hydrostatic problem that negative side cannot solve. The second step, if the problem is hydrostatic, is to get an exterior waterproofing bid alongside any interior bid. The excavation cost is higher, and the excavation solves the problem at its source. A homeowner who spends $20,000 on exterior waterproofing has a dry wall, a non-deteriorating foundation, and a clean disclosure. A homeowner who spends $4,000 3 times on interior coatings has a $4,200 expense, 3 years of repeat visits, a deteriorating wall, and a documented water history that reduces the sale price by more than the excavation would have cost. The third escape is the crystalline waterproofing system applied to poured concrete, not block, foundations. Products like Zypex and Crichton use the concrete's capillary structure to precipitate calcium silicate crystals within the concrete matrix itself, creating a self-healing waterproof barrier that grows deeper into the concrete as the crystals propagate. This is the only negative face application with documented performance under moderate hydrostatic pressure in independent testing, and it is appropriate specifically for sound poured concrete walls, where the wall material itself is intact and the infiltration is through microscopic pores rather than through cracks or wall-to-floor joints. It is not appropriate for block foundations. It is not sold by most basement waterproofing franchise companies because the margin is lower than interior drainage systems, and the installation requires surface preparation that takes longer than spray applying a coating. The final detail worth holding. The warranty on a negative side coating system is the document that reveals exactly what the company believes about its own product. Read any warranty from Drylock, from Be Dry, or from any major interior waterproofing company and find the exclusion clause for hydrostatic pressure. It is in every warranty. The product the company sold you as waterproofing is excluded from coverage under the conditions that make basement waterproofing necessary. The exclusion was always in the document. The salesperson was never going to point to it. $4 to $5 billion a year flows through a market where the product sold as waterproofing is frequently water management, where the physics distinction between hydrostatic and non-hydrostatic applications is disclosed in the product warranty and never disclosed in the sales conversation, and where the failure produces a documented water history that follows the property to its sale. The exclusion clause is in the warranty. The warranty is in your drawer. Find the section on hydrostatic pressure. Read it. Then call a geotechnical engineer before you call a waterproofing company. Subscribe. There is more of this coming, and the next one involves a coating applied to the outside of your foundation that fails by the same mechanism but costs 3 times more.